Hi, welcome to this presentation of the American Board's online teacher certification program for the state of Arkansas. Today I'm going to walk through how the program operates in Arkansas, as well as answer some of the most common questions that we get about our program and about teacher certification. So let's get started. So first of all, we'd like for people to know that we're a nonprofit that was founded in 2001 by the U.S. Department of Education. That makes us unique. No other nonprofit that offers teacher certification has ever been founded by the Department of Education. We offer an alternative route to teacher certification in over a dozen states. What we were designed to do is help career changers earn teacher certification without going back to school, quitting their jobs, or taking out student loans. So you can do our program while working full-time. That in turn helps communities deal with the teacher shortage by training people who already live in those communities to become teachers. So our program was actually designed to be very simple. All you need is a bachelor's degree in any field and to pass a standard federal background check, and that's it. It's open enrollment, so you can enroll at any time, 365 days a year. You just need those two things to enroll. There's no other entrance criteria. Once you've enrolled, and I'll get a little bit later, I'll get into how you do that, but once you're enrolled, all you do is study for and take two certification exams, a subject area exam and a professional teacher knowledge exam, or what we call the PTK. Now let me back up a little bit. The bachelor's degree that you have does not have to relate in any way to the subject area that you want to teach. So say, for example, you have a degree in chemistry and you want to teach English, or you have a degree in biology and you want to teach history. That's fine. You get to try to pass the subject area exam, and if you can complete the subject area exam successfully and show that you have content knowledge of what you want to teach, and you can pass the PTK, you earn our teacher certification. So you're not tied to whatever your bachelor's degree was in, and our program was designed that way. Candidates of the program have 12 months from the date that you enroll to complete. However, on average, our candidates take anywhere between 7 to 10 months, and that is because of the self-paced nature of our program. We have had some candidates complete the entire program in as few as 2 months. Typically, those candidates have been working as substitute teachers and were already familiar with the content area, so they didn't have to study quite as long. But on average, 7 to 10 months is the best time span to allow for most of our candidates, and that's studying an average of 5 to 8 hours per week, so maybe a little more or a little less than an hour a day. Once you're done studying the online materials, you take our exams at your local Pearson VUE testing center, and we always like to recommend that you check a map, see where the closest testing center is to your house. So continuing with how it works in the state of Arkansas, once you passed both exams, you get our American Board teacher certification. You take that to the Arkansas DOE, the Department of Education, and apply for their initial license. You also have to complete their professional development requirements, which most new teachers, actually all teachers have professional development requirements. There are specific professional development requirements for new teachers, and I'll get to those in just a minute. You'll teach on a provisional license for your first 3 years while you go through whatever mentorship program or classroom observations are required of new teachers in your district. Now here I like to recommend that if you know what subject area you want to teach and you know the district that you want to teach in, reach out to that district and find out what their mentorship requirements are for new teachers. So the resources that the American Board actually provides you. Once you've enrolled in the program, you get access to all of our online study materials. You see a note on the screen right now that says the history certification requires 2 textbooks. So you can, and we have links to those in our materials. You can find them on Amazon for anywhere from $20 to $30 each. So that's the only subject area where you have to actually purchase something in addition to enrollment costs. Otherwise, all the costs for the program include the study materials that you need to prepare for the exams. So we do online study materials, we provide study plans, practice quizzes, and practice exams. And you'll see that last bullet says that initial testing fees are included in the cost of the program. Now, I'm going to get into cost in just a little bit, but for now, what that means is you get 3 attempts at each exam. The first attempt is included in the cost of the program. So if you pass both exams on your first attempt, there are no other fees that you have to pay associated with the program. If, for example, you pass the PTK, but you fail the subject area exam on your first attempt, you would have to retake the subject area exam, and there is a $195 retake fee for that exam. However, most of our candidates, the vast majority, do pass the exams on the first or second attempt. You do get 3 attempts, but not many of our candidates end up using all 3 attempts. So one of the most common questions that we get is, what about student teaching? Student teaching for our program is not required, and that is largely due to the people who do our program. The people who actually do our program usually have been working in a different field for anywhere from 10 to 20 years. They want to switch into teaching, but they have a lot of real-world, real-life experience to bring into teaching. So student teaching is not as effective for them as it would be for a 21-year-old undergraduate. Having said that, most schools have a mentorship in place to help new teachers acclimate to the classroom, and we do recommend, as I've said, reach out to a district if you know that's where you want to teach and see what sort of mentorship they provide to new teachers. Now, student teaching is not required, but we do recommend substitute teaching before you finish your certification with us, and there are 2 very important reasons for that. 1, we recommend you try substitute teaching to make sure that you know what age group you want to work with. And 2, so that you know what content area you want to teach. And let me give you a little bit more detail on that. You might think you want to work with 3rd or 4th graders and realize that once you're in the classroom that you'd rather work with 2nd graders or that you'd rather work with high school students. At the same time, you may really want to work with high school students, but depending on what year you want to teach, in high school it gets very divided. 1 year is biology, 1 year is chemistry. If you're in the arts, 1 year is world history, 1 year is state history, 1 year is U.S. history. If you know what content you want to teach and what age range, you've got to make sure that that meshes together. If you want to teach 9th grade, but you don't want to teach world history, there's a lot of states, and Arkansas is one of them, where in certain places 9th grade is world history. So that's an example of why we recommend substitute teaching. Figure out the age group you want to work with and the subject you want to teach. So let's move on to the subject areas that are offered in the state of Arkansas by the American Board program. Arkansas has allowed us to offer these certifications because these were determined by the Department of Education to be the most critical needs subject areas. These are the areas where they continuously have a hard time finding teachers. So to run down the list that you see on your screen, we have biology, chemistry, elementary education, English, general science, history, math, and physics. Now you'll notice under a couple of them, English, general science, history, and math, that there are 2 grade ranges. That's for middle school and high school. Going back to what I just said about student teaching, or substitute teaching, if you know you don't want to do high school, or know you don't want to do middle school, or you know you really want to do one or the other, you want to make sure that you're teaching the content in that area that you want to teach. Also, you are going to need to choose for the state of Arkansas whether you get your certification for 4th through 8th grade or 7th through 12th grade. So part of our free trial, you get to look at the program and see what the content is for each of those areas. You can decide which certification you want to pursue. I'll get to a little bit more about the free trial in just a minute, but before we move on from this slide, I did want to touch on this little asterisk that you see next to 3 subjects: biology, English, and math. For those 3 subject areas, we offer a premium plan. All the subjects you see have a standard plan. The premium plan is $200 additional, and it offers some additional resources: study guides, an extra quiz bank, a few extra resource materials, and those can be extremely helpful. However, we'd like to be very upfront. Our standard program was designed to give you everything you need to pass the exams. There's no need to purchase the premium plan unless you want to. There's no need to purchase it for those 3 subjects you have everything you need in the standard plan to get ready for the exams. So if you'd like the extra materials, they are available to you for those subjects, but they're not necessary for your success in passing the program. So for the state of Arkansas, one thing that the Department of Education wants us to note is that if you would like a middle school certification, 4th through 8th grades, then you have to pick 2 subject areas. This is actually pretty common across the country. A lot of middle schools, they need their teachers to be adaptable and pick up more than 1 subject area to teach. So they ask that you be certified in 2 subject areas. And by ask, I mean they require that you be certified in 2 subject areas. So our program cost includes just 1 subject area. You study for 1 subject area exam and the PTK. An additional area of certification will cost an additional $850. If you do that, if you do middle school, then you're actually taking 3 exams instead of 2. 2 subject area exams and the PTK. Additionally, if you want to earn a license to teach middle school history or social studies, you do have to take an exam that is outside of American Board. You have to pass the secondary social studies praxis exam. If you want to teach history in high school, you have to pass the secondary social studies praxis exam as well. So moving on, let's get a little bit more into what the Arkansas Department of Education requires for anyone who does our program. You have to complete our program, meaning pass all the exams. Then you would apply to the ADE and complete all the licensure application forms that they will send you. Then you go to the place where you want to teach, a couple of local schools, put in applications, and get a teaching position in one of your local schools. It has to be a public or a charter school. For the purposes of our certification, it can't be a private school. You will get a letter, a job offer letter from the school that's offering you the position. You have to send that in to the ADE and complete a criminal records check and a CMCR check. Once you've done all those things, then you get your initial 3-year provisional teaching license. During that initial 3-year license, you have to complete all the required professional development courses. So here's a list of what you'll have to do during that first 3 years. It's based on your individual program, so some of the requirements will vary by subject area and by school, but the school should be able to let you know what professional development they require. And all of this has to be done during your initial 3-year license. Arkansas Ideas website, which we link to on our website, AmericanBoard.org, will let you know which courses are required for your certification area. So an example of some of the courses that are required might be child maltreatment, parental involvement, teen suicide prevention, and dyslexia awareness programs. And again, that's going to vary by district. All right, so once you've done the initial 3 years, in order to upgrade to a 5-year renewable teaching license, you're going to have to do the following. You have to participate in a 2-year mentoring program, and that should be facilitated by the school that hires you. Participate in the TEST program, or the Teacher Excellence and Support System Training Program, and they do some evaluations. You have to give a recommendation from the superintendent of your school district, and you have to complete the appropriate licensure forms and payment for your initial license. So that sums up most of what's required by the Arkansas Department of Education. I will take the opportunity to say here that every state has requirements similar to this. We like to think of it as the hoops that a new teacher jumps through to prove that they're competent. They're slightly different in every state, but every state has them. This is designed to be a support mechanism during your first critical years of teaching to make sure that you are able to perform up to par that the state recommends, and that you get the support that you need as you acclimate to the classroom. So let's get back a little bit into the details of our program. How much does it cost? That's one of the most common questions that we get. We offer 2 payment options, and I'm going to touch on them briefly here. We offer an installment plan where you can pay 9 payments of $298 a month. That ends up coming out to $2,862. Now with the installment plan, you have to enroll with an application. You can't enroll online. And the reason for that is we have to set it up in our system. There's some additional paperwork for an installment plan. You'll find installment plan applications on our website. If you go to AMERICANBOARD.org, search for installment plans, they're easy to find. They're also on our programs and pricing page. In addition to the installment plan, we do offer a one-time payment option. Typically, we also call that a lump sum payment. If you can pay everything up front at one time, we're able to do a discount. And the discount can range anywhere from $1,900 to $2,200. You'll want to check our website for whatever the current promotional rate is. Now, the good thing about a one-time payment, in addition to the lower cost, is you can enroll online at any time. You don't need to call in. There's no application. You can do it anytime you like, 365 days a year. Again, we are open enrollment. There's no semesters and no classes, so there's not a time window that you have to find in order to enroll. So that's a summary of how much it costs to do our program. One more note I want to make before we move on, because for some people this seems like a lot of money, and it is. But we always like to remind people that this is the alternative to a master's degree, which can run anywhere from $10,000 to $15,000. Our program was designed to be flexible and affordable and fast. So in terms of changing careers, this is actually one of the most affordable options that you'll find. I always like to point that out to people before we move on. So let's come back to why you would actually do the American Board program. Well, because we were designed to be self-paced and self-study, we're more flexible than any other option. We're more affordable, as I just mentioned, than any other option because we are much less than a Master's of Education or any other master's program or school that would offer you certification. You don't have to quit your job. You don't have to go back to school. You don't have to do student teaching. You can do it online in the privacy of your own home and at your own pace, working around your own schedule. So for all those reasons, we were designed to be a flexible, fast, and affordable option for you. One last point, we are state approved, which means that you can take our certification to any public or charter school in the state of Arkansas. Additionally, you can take our certification to any other state where the American Board is accepted. Currently, we're accepted in over a dozen other states, and that number is growing every year. If you decide to move from Arkansas to Missouri or South Carolina or Florida or any other state where we're accepted, the certification that you get with us transfers to that state. So that's just a couple of reasons why you'd want to consider American Board as a way to earn teacher certification. We're coming close to the end of our presentation, so I wanted to bring up one or two more things. We do offer a free trial at any time. You can go to our website. You can see I've got a screenshot right there of the upper right-hand corner. There's a little button that says free trial. You can sign up for a free trial, and what that does is it gives you 7 days access to the entire program. You can look through all the subject materials. You can look at the practice exams and practice quizzes. You can take a couple of the practice quizzes, see how you do, and get a feel for if the level of the materials, get a feel for if you think the program would be a good fit, if the level of the materials is something that you'd feel confident in taking on. So if anyone is on the fence about whether or not to do our program, we always recommend the free trial. There's no obligation. We don't require a credit card. We don't sell your information. It just lets you see the program for 7 days and make a decision if this is the right step for you, because we are talking about changing careers, and that is a big step. Lastly, I wanted to provide you with some contact information. As I've said a couple times in this presentation, our website is AMERICANBOARD.org. Our office hours are Monday through Friday, 9 a.m. through 6 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. You can call us at any time. We'll get back to you as soon as we're able. You can also reach out to us at info@AmericanBoard.org or at the phone number you see listed on your screen, which is our enrollment specialist team phone number. So if you have any questions, you're welcome to reach out to us. I highly recommend trying our free trial. Get a feel for the program and see if it might be a good fit for you. In the meantime, if you're considering becoming a teacher, I recommend either our program, obviously, or something, maybe a university if you can, because the teacher shortage is getting worse every year, and it is important that we have enough teachers in our classrooms. Thank you for your attention to this presentation, and I hope you found it helpful.